Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're really diving into something quite chilling. It's a story from Nonthaburi in Thailand, going back to 2011, and it's not just some old folktale. This is a first-hand account from someone named Kun Urk. We're going to unpack his experience in this apartment building, the really dark things he uncovered about what seemed like a totally normal place. Makes you think, doesn't it? How much can a place hold on to its past?
Oh, absolutely. And what's fascinating here is how these stories like Kun Urk's, which he shared publicly online, by the way, how they tap into something deeper, local legends, the history of a place, even just collective fear. That's a really compelling case study.
Right. So the big question we're looking at is, what happens when you move somewhere hoping for a fresh start, maybe some peace and quiet, only to find out its history is, well, very much still present. Let's get into it. Okay, so it starts with Kun Urk. This is back in 2011. He was a freelance market vendor, right? And he needed an apartment in Nonthaburi, mainly to be closer to his work, easier commute, He finds this apartment complex. It had 3 buildings, A, B, and C. Buildings B and C were facing each other, and then building A was kind of off by itself. So when he's checking out rooms, he talks to the cleaning lady. They called her Paya Maebasan. He tells her he likes things quiet, he plays music, guitar, doesn't want to bother neighbors. And Paya Maebasan, she points him towards building B, 3rd floor. She said it had really good airflow from a forest behind the balcony, nice and cool. And definitely quieter than Building C, which apparently faced a really noisy road, lots of traffic.
So on the surface, it seems like a perfectly logical choice, doesn't it? He wants quiet. She recommends the quiet building. Good ventilation. Rational. But that's the setup, isn't it? The expectation versus what actually happened.
Exactly. And what happened was intense. He'd only been there 2 days. It's the 3rd night. He gets home from work, totally exhausted, and just crashes, falls asleep. But then he describes being in this weird state, like half awake, half asleep. You know that feeling. He opens his eyes, and there's a woman standing right at the foot of his bed. He said she had long hair down to her shoulders, looked young, maybe late teens, early 20s, but her expression, it wasn't friendly at all. He described it as angry, really resentful, just staring at him like he'd done something wrong. He's lying there completely frozen, trying to figure out what's going on, what he could have possibly done. And then she pulls out this knife from behind her back, a big kitchen knife, he said, sharp. And without saying anything, she steps forward and just stabs him hard, right in the chest. He said he physically jolted awake, like instantly wide awake, clutching his chest. And he felt actual pain, intense pain, tightness, couldn't breathe properly. It was so real, he had to ask himself, did that actually happen? Or was it just a nightmare? He scrambled to turn on the lights. It was 2 a.m. He spent the rest of that night with every light on. Terrified, couldn't sleep.
Wow, that vividness, that blurring between dream and reality, it's terrifying. And that physical sensation, the pain, the tightness in his chest, psychologically, that's incredibly powerful. You hear about hypnagogic or hypnopompic hallucinations, those things you see or feel just as you're falling asleep, you're waking up. Usually they're just weird. But when it's something that violent and feels that real, it completely shakes your sense of what's real and what's not. It really primes you for more fear, doesn't it?
Absolutely. So that physical feeling must have stayed with him. Did he just brush it off? No way. He was shaken, obviously. Tried to tell himself, okay, just a really, really bad dream. Then the very next night, same thing. He gets home from work, falls asleep, and she's there again, in his dream. This time, though, she wasn't standing. She was curled up, knees bent, arms wrapped around them like she was cold or scared. And she was in that little gap between his bed and the wall. He specifically remembered his bed wasn't right against the wall. He looks up again, startled. And now he's thinking, okay, this isn't just random bad dreams. This is a pattern. Something's happening here. Turns on all the lights again. No sleep that night either. He just kept it to himself, though. Didn't tell anyone yet. Then comes the 3rd night. He'd been out with friends, got home late. He decides to leave the TV on, like for background noise. Comforting, maybe. A music channel. He goes out onto the balcony to wash some clothes. And while he's out there, suddenly the TV volume just blasts. Maximum. Like someone slammed the volume button on the remote. Deafening. He panics, worried about the neighbors, rushes back inside, turns it down fast. Turns it off completely. He starts walking back to the balcony. And click. The TV turns itself back on. Max volume again. That was it. He was absolutely terrified. Rushes back. Doesn't just turn it off. He yanks the plug right out of the wall. And he knew then, okay, tomorrow morning I have to get some answers. This is too much.
Yeah, you see the escalation there, right? It's not just in his head, in his dreams anymore. It's moved from those subjective, internal experiences to something undeniably physical happening in his apartment. The TV. That changes everything. It's not just, am I going crazy? It's something is physically interacting with my environment. That loss of control, that invasion of your safe space, it's profoundly unsettling. It makes perfect sense. He needed to find out what was going on.
Totally. So first thing next morning, he finds Pa Mai Bayan, the cleaning lady. He just lays it all out for her. The dreams, the woman, the knife, the TV turning on by itself. And at first she's really hesitant, like stammering, didn't want to talk about it. But he kept pressing her, and eventually she broke down and told him. She admitted that the cleaning staff, they were terrified of Building B. Absolutely terrified. So they never went in there alone, even during the day, always in pairs, always. And then she tells him point blank, "You're not imagining things, you're not alone." She said basically everyone who lived in Building B experienced stuff, strange things, hearing screaming, wailing noises. She said that was just normal for Building B. Can you imagine? Normal. Oh, and she added this creepy detail, so that crows always gathered around Building B in the evenings. Loads of them.
Which is seen as a really bad omen in many cultures, right?
Yes.
A sign of ill fortune or death.
Exactly. So Kunurk, now seriously freaked out, decides he needs more information. He goes to talk to an old food stall owner nearby, someone who'd been in that area for a long, long time. And this stall owner, well, he spills the beans about Building B's history. And it's dark, really dark. Turns out the building wasn't originally apartments. It was an unfinished construction project from the Tom Yung-kung financial crisis era, late 90s.
Ah, yes, a major economic crash in Asia. Lots of projects got abandoned then.
Right, and this half-finished abandoned building became notorious. People used it for drugs, worse, they lure women there. Terrible things happen, rape, even murder. It was known in the area as a really bad place, a place with a horrifying past. Eventually, someone bought it, finished it, renovated it into the apartments he was now living in, but clearly renovating the walls didn't get rid of the history.
And that history provides such a powerful context, doesn't it? The violence, the suffering that happened on that specific ground. It shifts the perspective. It's not just random ghostly activity anymore. It suggests this deep negative energy tied directly to those horrific past events. Like the trauma itself stained the place. It makes the later accounts even more chilling.
And there were more accounts. He talked to a security guard, too. The guard told him about this one incident, a mass panic. Apparently, all the residents in Building B just suddenly rushed out of their rooms at the same time one night, screaming. They'd all heard these awful noises, wailing, horrible laughter, crying, just chaos. The guard described it as looking like a scene from that Thai horror movie, Buparatri.
Which is known for exactly that kind of chaotic, vengeful spirit activity. So, yeah, intense comparison.
The fear was just thick in the air there. You could feel it. Some residents got so desperate they started leaving offerings outside their doors. Katongs.
Like the little floating baskets for appeasement or protection, yeah.
Right. But seeing those offerings just freaked out other residents even more. It just amplified the whole atmosphere of dread. It apparently got to the point where the standard morning greeting among people in Building B wasn't good morning. It was, "Did you hear anything last night? See anything?"
Wow, just constant shared fear.
Yeah. So the conclusion was pretty unavoidable. Nobody stayed in Building B for long, just couldn't handle it. And that included Kunurk.
And that collective experience, that shared reality of the haunting, is so significant. It really pushes back against the idea that it could just be one person's imagination or psychological state.
Yeah.
When multiple unrelated people report similar phenomena and there's this shared culture of fear, it suggests something is genuinely happening at the location, impacting everyone who stays there. It becomes a community ordeal.
So for Kunurk, the end of the story is, well, predictable. He lasted about 2 weeks in total. That's it. Couldn't take it anymore. He moved out. And tellingly, the landlord completely understood, didn't even try to argue, didn't charge him for the deposit, just asked him to pay for the actual days he'd stayed.
Which suggests the landlord knew exactly what was going on with Building B. That speaks volumes.
Totally. And the building complex, it's actually still there today, still renting out apartments, but only in buildings A and C. Building B, it remains closed, empty. Because, just like Kunurk and all the others found out, nobody can successfully live there. It's uninhabitable, not because it's falling down, but because of whatever lingers there. So, yeah. A little warning, maybe, if you're ever apartment hunting in Nonthaburi, be careful you don't hit the jackpot.
It really is a stark reminder, isn't it, that some places seem to just hold on to their pasts. The echoes of what happened there, especially violence and tragedy, can make them unusable, unlivable. It forces you to think about how history, especially the dark parts, can leave such a tangible, persistent mark on the present.
Absolutely. What a story. Kunurk's time in that Nonthaburi apartment, from the first dream, the woman, the knife, to the TV, the shared panic, and then finding out the truly awful history of Building B. It's a chilling reminder that sometimes the past doesn't stay buried.
Indeed. And it leaves you wondering, doesn't it? What does it really mean for a place to be haunted? Is it memory? Is it energy? Is it something else entirely? And where's that line between our own fear, our psychology, and something genuinely imprinted on a location from its dark past? The story definitely gives you a lot to chew on.
It certainly does. Well, thank you for joining us for this deep dive into the haunting of Building B. Hopefully it gave you some things to think about. And maybe double check the history next time you look for a new place. Thanks for listening.